This
people,
conference will now be recorded.
yeah, how many of you are having a work experience or completely new? Can just put me on a chat. Just say yes, no. How many are experienced here? How many have just completed their education? So do I take everyone as freshers? Okay, I don't see any response. All right, so let me working with SAP Business One HANA.
Yeah,
Great.
I'm a fresher, sir.
Okay, good. I'm experienced 1 year. Okay, great. So I think we have the combination of both experience and the freshers working as a senior manager. Oh, that's nice to know, Bharadwaj. Experience. All right, then everyone has seems like everyone has a good amount of experience. So, see the point the thing I have asked you this question to understand what is your level of expertise in understanding the business process. See, basically, what we are looking at is like someone with knowledge of having a very good knowledge on a business process, or someone is already having a hands-on of how exactly the business process or the sales process work. Not on the SAP part, but rather I would say on how exactly the sales process work. What is a business process? What is a sales? How the orders get generated? How do we deliver them? How the invoice process? What are the priorities, delivery priorities? So I wanted to know whether you have this understanding or not. However, let's proceed with the session today. So today we would be covering up the introduction on SAP SD with SAP S4 HANA, and then going ahead, the agenda of today's activities or today's slides would be on what is ERP and why do we need it, what is SAP and how SAP has evolved so far. Then we'll see what is SAP three-tier architecture, SAP system landscape, modules inside SAP, what is S4 HANA, what it has brought in to the world of SAP, and then we'll try and understand what is sales and distribution on a high level. Then we'll see what level of career path can be driven out of this SAP. What is the scope? What are the types of projects we can have? And then the last slide would be for your questions. Okay. So let's proceed to the concept of what is ERP and why do we need it. All right. So what is ERP? ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So what do I mean by Enterprise Resource Planning? So I say ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning. All right. So now, what is this enterprise resource planning? Let's break down into three parts: enterprise, resource, and planning. Understand what is enterprise first. Okay. What is an enterprise? Enterprise, can I call it as a firm or an organization or some entity? What will happen in the firm? What will happen in organization? These are all the synonyms, but what exactly happens there? We perform a business. What they do, they perform a business. Now, when I say what is a business, business has two parties. Business has two parties. Now, one can be called as a buyer, and other one is called as a seller. All right. One is called as a buyer, and other one is called as a seller. So what is happening here? We are exchanging the transactions. What is happening? We are performing a business, and in the business process, what are we doing? We are exchanging the transactions. Okay. Now on a larger scale, on an enterprise, what we have, we something have a vendor, we have a company, and we have the customer. All right. This is on a larger scale. Now, when I say a company, okay, when I say a company, company could be a manufacturing manufacturing company, meaning it may have a plant, okay, it may have a plant, it may have a plant where we manufacture the product. So who is a supplier to a company? In order to manufacture something, what do I need? I need a raw material. What I need? I need raw material. So how do I get a raw material? I need to purchase it from some vendors or a suppliers. Vendors or suppliers. So from these suppliers, I get a raw material. I pass it through my plant, through my machines, whatever I have. I convert them to a finished products, and then make them available for my customers. Make them available for my customers who will buy those products from me. Who will buy those products from me? Okay. Who will buy those products from me? Now, in this whole process, now what is the role of a company? Company is a buyer and vendor is a seller in the procurement process. Procurement, procurement process. And in the order to cash process, company is a seller and a customer is a buyer. What is a customer? Customer is a buyer. All right. Now, so what is company selling it to a customer? Company is selling the finished product to a customer and customer is buying it from them. What next? After that, we have something called account receivables, 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 and we collect the payment from, see, we sold the product to a customer. What is the next step? We generate an invoice and then share it to a customer, and customer will pay for it. The payment received from the customer is account receivables. Okay. In this side, what do we have? Account. What do we have here? Account payables. Payable. Okay. Account payable. What am I doing? I am receiving the products and I am selling it. I'm paying him the money for what I have purchased. So this, what is this entire thing called? What is this entire thing called? This entire thing is considered as a business process. This entire thing is considered as a business process. Business process, or we call it as a supply chain. Supply chain. Okay. So in this overall process, what is happening? Business is happening. What is happening? Exchange of the transactions. We are exchanging the transactions, or exchange of transactions is happening. Company is buying and company is selling, and then payments are received, payments are made. So who are involved? Two parties are involved. Who are they? Buyers and sellers. All right. So the business process and the supply chain is happening inside the enterprise. So if we understand enterprise, enterprise is a place where business is performed and a place where the transaction exchange is happen. Now, inside this enterprise, the next stage or next thing what we have is a resource. Now, what do we say? What do we have under the resource, or what do we call as a resource in the enterprise? I say the money is one of the resource, material, man, and machine. So, if someone is from the MBA marketing, they must be aware of four M's. We call it as four M's. Four M's. Okay. So money, material, man, and machine are the resources which are used inside the enterprise. So without money, I cannot run this business process. I need to buy an equipment, machinery, robots to perform the job, electricity, labor, space, transportation. For all of these activities, I need money to spend, and then I can procure, acquire, and then ensure my business processes ran. Okay. Now, next is a material. Without the material, I will not be able to buy or sell anything. I need a raw material in order to create my finished product. Only then my customer is going to purchase it from me. I cannot give the raw material to the customer and ask him, boss, this is how it is. So if someone is planning to purchase a soap, I cannot give him the raw material which is used in preparing the soap. Say, for example, we have four ingredients, combination of which will prepare one finished product, one final product, which is a soap. All right. I cannot give my customer four ingredients and ask him to mix them and prepare a soap. So what I need to do, I need to have the material, raw material procured from my vendor, supplier, and then I need to process them under my machineries, ensure it takes a form of a finished product, and then once it is available, I properly pack it and I keep it available for my customer to buy it from me. So that is the process of the material involvement. So in the material, when I say I can have a raw material, I can have a semi-finished, I can have a finished. There are a lot of materials we can use. And then man, what is the role of a man? You want to buy, you want to transport, you want your machines to run, you want the product to be sold, advertised, you need the manpower. All right. So you need the manpower. Without manpower, you cannot process. Machinery is again the same. Machinery is all the equipments which are used in your business process. So even without these forums, without these resources, you cannot fulfill the needs of your enterprise. So that is about the resource. Then what do we have? We see something called planning. Now, what is a planning? Planning on a smaller level, if we try to understand, we have a plan to connect to the call today, which is on introduction of SAP SD, which is scheduled at 9:30. So if at all you're occupied in some activity, you ensure beforehand that by 9:30 you're available to the session. So you plan it, you organize it accordingly. You have some other engagements, you will push it based on your priorities. So what does it mean? It is as simple as organizing. Planning is nothing but organizing. On an enterprise level, you organize it well. Now, say for example, your customer is coming with an order of 1,000, and if you do not have the 1,000 stock available in your inventory, you cannot keep quiet, or you cannot say, I don't have the stock. You will inform him that, there is a shortage of stock and we will organize and get you the stock by end of tomorrow, by end of day after tomorrow. So this is a kind of commitment you can give it to your customers based on certain organizing process. All right. So now, even further, if I say, you will not come to that situation where you are shortage of the stock, because based on the historical data what you have on a buying consumer buying process, you'll already pre-store the stock and keep it ready for the customers to provide the stock. So what are you doing? You're actually organizing. So all your streams, all your departments are should be in sync, so that the information of the sales forecast should make the plant ensure that the sufficient products are ready in order to produce the sufficient products. Okay, your planning department should have a well planned, organized vendors procurement process in place. And once the vendor shares the raw material, your you should have an efficiency to run those raw materials into the finished products. So this is how in the different streams you're going to organize, and then you're going to produce and process it well. So now, on the whole, what do we understand by the enterprise resource planning? Enterprise resource planning is basically organizing the different streams of the enterprise. That is as simple as that. It is a general layman terminology. But ERP is a software product. Now, what is in ERP as a software product contributes? So, it's a software that manages a company's financial, supply chain operations, commercial reports, manufacturing, and human resource activities. So it is a concrete, robust, concrete software which engages and integrates different line of businesses or different departments inside the enterprise, and facilitates the information from one department to another department at a convenient and organized way. All right, that is nothing but your ERP. Now, what are the type of ERP deployments we can see? There are basically three types: on cloud, on premise, and hybrid ERP. Now, what is the difference, and what do we exactly understand by on cloud, on premise, and hybrid ERP? So let's first try and understand on premise. On premise is basically infrastructure or a hardware setup which is made at the client's location. Client will have client or a company or an enterprise. We use the word client for the enterprises. Okay, so we as an IT service providers, we see them as our clients. We see the enterprises as our clients. So client will have a space inside or a location inside his office where they maintain the servers. Okay, where they deploy the ERP. When they deploy the ERP on their physical servers located in their location, we call it as an on-premise. And if they are going for, if instead of having a physical servers, if they are approaching some cloud service providers like AWS, Azure, Microsoft, IBM, so a lot of cloud service providers are available in the market now. So you're going to provide your specification and your requirement to them. Accordingly, they are going to manage and provide you the space and capabilities which are required to deploy your ERP. So you will not have any physical system uh, on your premise, and at the same time you can manage the same level of same level of business performance at your uh, for your enterprise structure. So that is a facility of a cloud ERP. Now, what is an hybrid ERP? Hybrid ERP is, say, for example, you are into a banking and you wanted to safeguard certain informations, and some information you can put it on a public cloud or a private cloud. So in that occasion, what you do is you partly you put the ERP setup on premise and partly you put it on a cloud. So in those situations, we call the setup or the deployment process as hybrid. All right. So that is about this three different types of deployments what we can have. Now, when I say ERP as a software, now what are the software products available on the ERP product? We have many software products available catering to the different business needs. Okay. Say for example, if some company is into only finance aspects, financial areas, there is Oracle Finance which is available for the larger enterprises. Okay. Now, let us come back to this Excel sheet and try to understand a point here. Now, the enterprises are categorized into three: large enterprises, okay, medium enterprises, and then we have small enterprises. So, what is a large enterprise? Large enterprise is an enterprise which has a huge volume of business. Say, for example, if some business which is going beyond 1000 crores, okay, 1000 crore, I consider it as a large enterprise. They have a huge business. Or if some enterprise which is diversified, they are into a different sectors, different areas, like Adani Groups, or your Reliance Industries. We treat them as Reliance Group of Industries. Okay. So we treat them as a larger enterprises. Okay. Or some company which is globalized. I mean, which are operating across the globe, which are operating across 40 countries, 50 countries, 100 countries. So these kind of enterprises, we consider them as a large enterprise. So medium enterprises, somewhere between 5 to, and smaller enterprises less than 500 CR. All right. So this is how these figures may vary. I'm not saying this is the exact figure, but these figures may vary. This we are taking it for the understanding purpose. Larger enterprises who are doing a business more than 1000 crores, medium is 500 to 1000, and small is less than 500. So now in this occasion, the capability of your software should support this volume. Okay. Now in order to support this volume, you should have a better product available in the market. So for that reason, Oracle, okay, Oracle, SAP, PeopleSoft, PeopleSoft, and there are many other products which cater to the larger enterprises. Likewise, there are softwares, ERP softwares available in the market which caters to the medium enterprise. Smaller enterprise, we see the financial Tally is something which basically supports Tally and Focus, which uses for the smaller enterprise. They do not have a capability to handle medium enterprises and large enterprises. Wherein this Oracle, SAP, and other products, the Salesforce and other products, they are capable of catering to the requirement of all the enterprises, all the different types of enterprises. Okay, so these are the products which are available. These are the softwares which are available. Now, out of these softwares, we will understand what is SAP first. Okay. Now, why SAP out of these is we will see it later. But first, let's see what is SAP. Now, what is SAP? SAP stands as Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. So it is all about the data processing. We all understand by now. Every department or every area inside an enterprise If I say department in the enterprise, we have finance department, we have planning department, we have quality department, we have sales department, human resource department. So there are so many departments, exclusive departments, who do their job, who perform their day-to-day transactions. So what do they do when I say day-to-day transactions? They process the data. Ideally, they process the data. In processing the data, what is involved? Systems, applications, and their products. So SAP has taken this particular baseline, and they have brought this as the company name and also their product name. So what is SAP stands? So SAP stands as a systems, applications, and products which are used in the process of in processing the data or data processing. SAP is one of the world's leading producer of software for management of business process, developing solutions that facilitates effective data processing and information flow across the organizations. So now why SAP apart from the other things? Because we consider SAP as one of the world leaders. SAP is the number one in the ERP products and number three in the software products. When I say software products, other than ERP, we also have other products like operating systems. We have some database products. We have so many other products, software product, development products, full stack products, Android applications. So there are a lot of software products available in the market. So when I say where do SAP stand on the software world, then I would say I would rank it as a three. But in the ERP specifically, we take it as a one. Because why we take it as a one? There is lot of customer base. There are a lot of customers who has accepted SAP as their ERP product and still continuing using the same product. So that is the reason why SAP stands number one. So how do a company is decided as a number one? Is it just that you say, I say, or someone say? No. It is based on the market capture. It is based on the market share. We decide what is the status of the company in that particular line. When I say if the ERP market is 100%, out of the 100%, SAP occupies 65 to 70%. It varies year to year. Okay, 65 to 70%. When it has an occupancy more than 50%, then it is considered as the number one company or a number one software product in the world. All right. Okay. So when was it found? It was found in 1972. The company was initially called System Analysis Programming or Program Development. Okay. So this is something what it was called. Okay. And then later they have changed it. Now what does SAP helps in? SAP helps companies and organizations of all sizes and industries run their business profitable, adapt to continuous growth and sustainability. All right. So why SAP is still accepted and utilized by the companies? Because it gives a very good growth. It gives a profits. Okay. It gives a way for generating more profit. It gives an opportunity to grow further. So that is a facility what we get it from the SAP. Okay, now let's understand how the journey of SAP has started from 1972 and how it is continuing till today, and where are we on this journey. Okay, so as per this is a previous PPT. So as per this PPT, the year is 2015 when this was delivered. All right. So now the thing has changed. So we are in 2022. So 1972 and 2022 is as good as 50 years of SAP journey. Okay. So now how did SAP start? SAP started with a business software and an online processing initially as SAP R1. Okay. And there their initial focus was on the real-time data processing, on the materials, procurement, and accounting. It was not a complete product. It was partly supporting the ERP. And then R2, it has improved a lot. The entire transformation has taken. The frame itself, the coding, the entire thing has changed from the business software to the mainframe computing. And there it started integrating with the various modules, and it was utilizing the mainframe architecture, and it was supporting, it was more capable, and successfully was able to support all the larger enterprises with the R2. And then came the concept of R3. R3 was an excellent and most successful product of SAP, I could say. So R3 has brought a concept of two things. One is a client server technology, and the other one is the utilization of internet at the best. Okay. So what it did in 1992, it has enabled customers to take advantage of client server technology and internet technology. All these days, the internet was there, but in a different way. But after 1992, there was the great improvement in the internet concept. And what has happened is, like, they have moved into a client server technology. Let's understand what it is. And also the interface, what was with 72 and 82, that is R1 and R2, the interface in R3 was much better. It was unified graphical user interface. It wasn't the complete graphical interface. It was a graphical user interface, but better than what earlier they had. Okay, and this brought in the better features and the functionalities to to ease the users and comfort the users in processing their day-to-day activities. Then in the same era, there was another product which is SAP ECC. ECC is nothing but ERP central component. ERP central component. So this again was a kind of using the client server technology, but in a much improved way when compared with R3. So what I could say is R3 and ECC is something what is now used across all the client over the world. All right. So these are the products which are being used across the world. Then in 2015, we see something called S4 HANA. S4 HANA is a product which has brought introduced by SAP. So what is this S4 HANA? It's a in-memory and cloud computing technology oriented product, ERP product. So it was more digitalized, and the database concept, or you know the saving and retrieving data or searching the data pattern was different in this. We'll see what exactly is S4 HANA and SAP HANA further. But this is how it has evolved. Now, in 2022, the better version of S4 HANA, I would say the facelift of S4 HANA is now available. They are now currently having S4 HANA with 2021 edition, which is currently running in the market. All right. Now we were talking why SAP over the other other products in the market, because it has that great complexity, it has that great capability to handle the complexity. It is well integrated within the modules, and it is so robust. It has a redundant, it is scalable. So these are all the features of what SAP has. So is the reason you can see, as per the old data, it is around 320,000 customers across the globe what we have. And the industries or the verticals where it is deployed is 20 plus, 25 plus industries. So do we understand what is the meaning of an industry? Industry is nothing but your telecom industry, automobile industry, you have fast moving consumer goods, FMCG industry, pharmaceutical industry. So these are all the industries. So every industry have a different ball game. All right. If a pharma industry is something where you don't sell it in the general stores, or you don't sell something in the supermarkets. You have a different line of business altogether. All right. So it is either sold through the hospitals or through the medical shops. All right. And there's something called primary sales and secondary sales, so that's how it is sold. Okay, so the concept of the selling the products, the concept of producing the products, the life shell shelf life of the product is absolutely different when we compare the companies or the industries. All right, so that is how it works. So SAP has a capability to cater all this 25 plus different industries which are available. What does it mean? It means like SAP have some predefined uh, building blocks, best practices, which which can be used directly to serve the to serve and support the needs of the respective uh, clients which fall under the different industries. All right. Now in this slide, we'll try and understand what is a three-tier architecture. We saw here there is something called R3 and client server technology. So three R3, what is an R3? It's a real-time three-tier architecture. Now what is a real-time three-tier architecture? Have you been to the supermarkets? I hope everybody have been to their one of the supermarkets which is available in your locality. So what happens there? You buy few articles, you put them in your basket, you come to a billing counter, they scan those products and they perform the billing. Okay, they perform the billing there. Once the scanning is done, system will read what is the article and what is the price for this article, what is the expiry of this article, and blah blah blah. All the information is brought onto the screen, and once the information is brought onto the screen, you will proceed further to make the payment. Once he saves the information, there is output which comes as a bill. The bill copy will come out, and that is given to you all right after you make the payment. So what does it mean? It means the system is saving certain information, and it is acknowledging you back that okay boss, the invoice number is some 1001, and for this invoice number you have these many materials. Okay, once the invoice is created, it will be saved inside the system. Now in the supermarkets you will have the systems. Okay, so do you think the data is saved on the system, what is used in the counter counter? No, it is not. So answer is no, it is not. So data is not saved in the systems which is used in the counter there. All right. Now, where is the data saved? Data will go and save in the server. Where will it save? The data, the data, the data will be saved in the server. Sorry, server. Now, what is the data which will be saved in the server? It will save invoice number 110. What will have inside the invoice number 110? All the articles which are bought by the customer, right? Now Let's understand, correlate this with the three-tier architecture. When I say three-tier architecture, I talk about presentation layer, application layer, then we have a database layer. Okay, all right. Now, what is a presentation layer? Presentation layer is the monitor or the screen where you are performing the transaction, where the information is fed. Information is, that is a presentation layer. So the tool where you input the details, okay, that is a presentation layer. Now, after entering the details, what is the next step? You have to save the invoice. You have to save the invoice. Now, when you click on a save button, how will system understand that it has to save? So there are predefined logics which are available at application layer. All right, which will so what is it? SAP GUI, web client, and a web client. So when if we are talking about SAP will also have a similar kind of interface where the end user will create a sale order. Once he creates a sale order and click on a save, the business logic inside the application layer will prompt and tell the system to save that information in the order related table inside the database layer. Okay. Now that is a role of your application layer. What is a database layer? Database layer has various tables. Database layer has various tables, and they, various tables, and whenever relevant information is saved, the data is stored to the respective table. Clear? So for order creation, we'll have some tables. For invoice, we'll have different table. For delivery, we'll have different table. For quotations, we'll have different table. Likewise, we have different tables for different activity. So that when I wanted to retrieve the invoice, say for example, this 1001 customer will come back to the store again, and he'll say the product is defective. He needs a replacement. So what I need to do, I need to check what is the invoice which was created, 110, and whether the article is there inside that invoice or not. The same article is there inside the invoice or not. That is something I have to verify. Okay, so how will system understand? From the database layer, again, with this application layer logic, it will retrieve the information on a presentation layer 101, and it will show you the details of that particular invoice. So this is how your three-tier architecture work. Whatever is done in the presentation, inputted in the presentation layer based on the logic, it saves in the database. And if you wanted to retrieve the information from database through the application layer, it goes back to the presentation layer. Okay. Now, what is this client server technology? What is this client server technology? Client server technology is nothing but you may have a specific client, you may have a specific server. You may have a specific server located in client's place. located in the client's place. Now, let's take, for example, more supermarket or a big bazaar. Let's take this big bazaar as an example. So, big bazaar server may be located in Panjagutta. Okay, but big bazaar outlets, okay, big bazaar outlets, big bazaar outlets are located across Hyderabad. Okay, they are located across Hyderabad. You see, they are located across Hyderabad. One in Banjara Hills, one in LB Nagar, one in Kukatpalli, one in Gachibowli. So there are so many locations we have, and in each location they may have some four systems, four counters, four systems e- per each counter. Four systems. Okay, let's take it as a four systems in each location. Now, in each counter, in each system, what will happen? Immediately, one after the other, the customers will come, they perform the invoice, the data is getting stored. So, what is happening? The information what is getting stored will get stored here in this Hyderabad location. Then it is getting stored. This information from Banjara Hills will get stored onto the server. This information from Gachibowli or other location will get saved onto the server. So this concept of saving the information from the client to a server is called a client server technology, or the relationship between a client server is called a client server technology. Okay, so data will not get stored on this things. Data will only be stored on a server, but it is processed on a client systems. Now I wanted to retrieve the data, I can retrieve it. Say for example, somebody purchased it from Banjara Hills and he wanted to return in the Gachibowli. Okay. So he cannot say in my system I don't have the data. You go to the system where you purchased. No, it is all centralized. The information is centralized. The moment he reaches this Gachibowli, and this guy will ask him to produce the invoice copy. The invoice number, once he enters in the system, data is retrieved from the server to this system, and then he will process it further. So that's how the centralized business works. And this has brought in a lot of advantage to the enterprise. Before to this, what was the case? Independent systems will have the independent information. Now, if I go from Hyderabad to Delhi, I moved and my product is not working. I go to Delhi and I ask the replacement. He'll say, go back to Hyderabad and replace your product. So these were the challenges earlier. But later, the centralized concept with the client server technology has facilitated more ease to the enterprise. Any questions so far? No, sir. Okay. So just to refresh, uh, we have gone through the couple of understandings on what is ERP, then types of ERPs, then ERP products. Then we understood what is SAP and how did SAP evolve, three-tier architecture. Now let's understand what are the various modules which are supported by SAP. Okay, now SAP as an ERP product is something what we know by now. Now, what is inside SAP is something we will understand now. So ERP is what? ERP is something where you are integrating, organizing a different departments. When I say different departments in a real time for an enterprise, it is FI, CO, HR, SD, planning, plant, quality inspection. These are the various departments. So what is the expectation from the software? So this software should understand and perform the data which is processed in the each and every department. So directly or indirectly, what does it mean? It means that I should have all the modules related to the enterprises, all the department related modules which can support the enterprise, and they all should be well integrated, connected, so that the data from each department can flow to the other department. All right. So now let's understand what do we have. We have FICOAM, which is related to finance. Okay. Financial accounting, controlling, and asset management. Then we have HR, human resource, workflow, project systems, warehouse management, plant quality inspection, product planning, materials management, sales and distribution. Now, let's take an example. I sold a product. I sold a product. I delivered it. It is reached the customer. Customer received the product. Now, once customer receives the product, what is the next step? What is the next step? Next step is the finance team has to request for the payment. Finance team should reach the customer and request for the payment for what has been sold. If these two areas are not connected, then say for example, in a day I perform 100 different transactions to 100 different customers. If all the information is not flown into FI, then how will FI know from where he has to receive the payments? That's one part of the story. The other part is, out of these things sold, after these payments received, what is what in case if someone comes and asks for a returns? If some product is not up to the expectations and he will demand for a return, he has already made the payment. So with reference to which particular document I have to return him the money. If it is not integrated, how can I uh, verify and check this information and sort this off? I can do it manually. I can go refer back to the books. What in case if 6 years, 6 months back, if some customer has placed an order and today is coming back and asking for a return? So how do I check if I have different systems and if these systems are not integrated? What I need to do, I need to go back, check this customer, what are the orders he has placed, verify inside those orders this material, how many times he has placed, and then I have to see this material, is there any other relationship or the unique key between this material and the material inside those orders, and then I can create a returns with reference to that. So all of these process will become easier when these modules are integrated, well integrated, right? So that is the reason inside the SAP we have these various modules which are well integrated with each other, and the data flow will happen within these modules once the data is updated in each independent module. So that is the benefit of having the SAP in place. Now let's understand what is SAP S4HANA. So what is an SAP S4HANA? Basically, S4 stands for a Business Suite 4. Okay, Business Suite 4. Now it is an ERP product. It is an ERP product. It is a newer product of the SAP. As simple as that. We call it as a Business Suite for SAP. Okay. Now what is HANA? HANA stands as High Performance Analytical Application. Basically, HANA stands as a High Performance Analytical Application. Now, what is this High Performance Analytical Application? This is a multi-model database. Multi-model database. What is a database? Database is a space where you store the data. What is a database? Database is a space where you store the data. Now, why we have, what is the need for S4 HANA? Why the S4 HANA concept has come into the picture? So, to understand this, we need to quickly understand the one very important point, that you know SAP as a product, SAP as an ERP product is dependent on third party, third party DB database. Okay. So what does it mean? Your three layers, which I said, presentation layer, application layer, and we call it as a database, DB layer. Okay. Now this, what is happening? Now SAP takes the ownership of entire thing. SAP takes the ownership of entire thing. But database is not SAP's product. Database, either SAP dependent on Oracle or some other Oracle or some other, you know, database product available in the market. Now, see the process time taking for these two. See, process time in the sense, I wanted to retrieve some information which is already created. Say, for example, 110 invoice number. This 110 is stored in a DB. Now I wanted to retrieve it on a screen. The time consumed between these two is in seconds, and from here till here, application to DB and DB to application consumes more time to get the data. And this process in a real time has become a little tedious, and few clients weren't happy with the way that SAP was consuming time in retrieving the informations, or producing the report outputs. All right. So now what SAP has decided is, in order to solve this complexity, SAP thought, why not we come up with our own database? Okay, why not we come up with our own database? So in while uh, coming up with their own database, SAP has identified and acquired few companies in the market who are already into this in-memory database concept, where the concept is, see, when I say memory inside your mobile phone or a laptop, we talk about RAM and ROM, which is your hard disk and your RAM. Okay, RAM is nothing but it is something which accelerate or performs the data. The ROM is something, or a hard disk is something where the data is stored. But with this HANA concept, what they have come up is they started storing the information onto the RAM rather than onto the disk. Okay, so they have tremendous memory space wherein they started putting the data. So whatever is performing will also give me the data. So in this process, the retrieval time of the information has reduced tremendously. So data was, the critical data, or the huge volume of data was being retrieved at a much faster phase when I compare it with the legacy DB. All right. So that is the reason SAP has come up with this SAP HANA. Okay. HANA is a high performance analytical application. All right. Now, what is SAP S4 HANA? SAP S4 HANA is a business suite 4, which is 4 is nothing but the fourth generation product. We have R1, R2, R3, and now it is a 4. This is a fourth generation product. Okay. And this is now called as a digital core enterprise edition, rather calling it as R3 product or ERP product. We call it as a digital core enterprise edition product. Okay, so what it does, what is the job of SAP S4 HANA? It is the same, it is an ERP. It has a better features. See, what is the role of four wheeler? If I say Maruti 800 or a Swift or a Innova or some other vehicle, all are four wheelers end of the day. But every vehicle has a different comfort level, different features, different abilities to support, satisfy the client needs. So likewise, the SAP S4 HANA has more features and abilities to support the client needs. Okay. So now what are the key features what we have uh, with respect to S4 HANA? We see the S4 HANA is more optimized. It is altogether a new product. That is the first thing. The entire design is absolutely new, but the transactions, but the flow or the things are same, more or less the same with the new features. It is optimized for SAP HANA. It is optimized for new database, new architecture and a data model. The tables are not the same. The information which was saved in the previous concept, we had more tables. Now SAP has eliminated tables which are not much in use, and where multiple tables are combined together and producing the same information what is required. So the new architecture has come up. The principle of one as a digital core is something what we talk as a key feature, and a renewed application. As I said, it is not the same thing. It is upgraded one, and we have a better user experience, which is called a Fiori app. App has great features in creating or in analyzing the data when you compare it with a normal GUI, which is available on the SAP. And moreover, it is compatible and flexible to be deployed on cloud and on premise. So those are the abilities, and that is what brings in the S4 HANA. Now, on a broader picture, S4HANA, as I mentioned in my previous slide, it is an enterprise management. We call it as a digital core S4HANA enterprise management. So more or less all the modules, see, modules will not change. It is a business process. Enterprise, when I say in the enterprise, the supply chain remains same. Okay, the finance remains same. The procurement remains same. The orders, contracts, services, manufacturing remains same. Only thing is the facility or the process will improve. It brings up the enhanced ability, it brings up the new features and the new ability where the information is more handily available now. All right. So rather in R3, I may need to click thrice or four times to get to know some information. Say for example, if I wanted to see the stock of the material, I have to go to another screen. I cannot see it in the sale order. I have to go to another screen, then there verify and come back and then set. So instead, in S4 HANA, using the Fiori app, you can have the information of the stock at the same time. This Fiori app will provide you the purchase pattern of the customer, like last 6 months, how many times did he purchase this product, how many times he has returned this product, what is the probability of success going forward with this product. So all of this analytics are featured into this product. So this is how it has been classified. And then, so like, again, SAP S4 HANA was not an easy product. It had a couple of challenges. So usually when some new product or a new concept or a new technology is introduced, it needs a lot of improvisation based on the adaptation of the product at the client's business process. So more and more it got involved into the client business transactions. They started identifying more problems. They started fixing those problems. They experienced new challenges. They have found the solutions for those new challenges. They have brought in the new native products and attached to this S4 HANA product. So it started with the release 1511, and it continuously improved and released 1610, 1709, 1809, 1909, 2020, 2021. So it has continuously improved by giving a new release. New release means a new patch or a new information getting added to the enterprise edition. Say for example, in 1511, we only had material ledger, unified general ledger, and a business partner concept. By 1610, you can see there is a new concept called advanced ATP process, extended warehouse management, which were embedded into this product. Likewise, going forward, if you can see the predictive MRP, Okay, product compliance, which is used for the uh, trading, export trading, when there is a cross border trading, when the product is moving from one country to other country, what are the compliance it need to undergo. So those have been a native part of the S4 HANA. So likewise, year on year, or version on version, or release on release, they brought in the new facilities and features which were added into the S4 HANA. Likewise, in SAP HANA, again, I'm saying SAP HANA is a database, S4 HANA is a ERP software. When I say database, it started with ABAP CDS views, and then there is a intelligent technology, and now it is improved and brought in some hyperscalers and stuff into the SAP HANA. Proceeding further, so sales and distribution overview, let's keep it simple. Let's not get into all of these things now. So due to the shortage of time, I'll just put it simple. We have sales, shipping, and billing, which is again integrated with the financial accounting, and then your sales thing is integrated with materials management and production planning. Okay, and this information is again integrated with the sales information system. Sales information system is used for a reporting purpose. Say for example, you wanted to know what was your annual sale, how much product, how many products you sold, how many products were returned, how many orders were rejected. So all that information will be available in sales information. This is used for reporting purpose. All right, so now back to the SAP career. SAP career, when I say, the moment you get equipped with the knowledge of what is SAP SD, okay, you enter into an organization. That organization is an IT company, IT service provider. We call as IT vendors. So these are the various synonyms what are used in the market. Okay, now what are you called? You called as a functional consultant. You called as a functional consultant. There are two roles in SAP ideally. One is a functional role and the other one is a technical role. When I say technical role, it is more of the more of someone who writes the code, who manages administration work, writing the code, though they are the technical roles. And functional roles are a module owners or a module related guys. We call as a functional consultants, SD functional consultant, FICO. So these are the roles what we get. Now, types of projects, when we see, we have the implementation project, enhancement, support, migration, upgrade, rollout. So depending on the requirement from the client, if you are implementing it, if you are deploying it for the first time, you call it as an implementation project. You have already implemented 3 years back. Now you want, you have implemented in India. Now you wanted to extend the SAP ERP software to your other location, Singapore and Malaysia. Then you call it as a rollout because you are proceeding there. Now after implementation, post implementation, you need a support for this product. So you need to get into a support project. Okay, and in this implementation process you will also come across some business process, new business process being introduced. So for that, if you wanted to implement that business process into SAP, you call it as a enhancement projects. The pieces, bits and bits, new concepts you are adding, new business process you are adding into the already running SAP product, then you call it as an enhancement. Migration and upgrade is nothing but if you are moving from R3 to ECC, say for example, RT to R2 to R3. So these are the upgrade. Migration is similar to that. ECC, there are versions. Okay, there are enhancement packs from pack 5 to 6, 6 to 7. If you are moving, then it is called as a migration. So this is how your SAP types of projects will work. Now, as IT guy, your role begins as an associate consultant. Once you gain 1 or 2 years, you'll become a consultant. More and more experience you gain, you will be called as a senior consultant and a lead consultant. After some 10, 12 years of very good experience and expertise, once you get the complete hold of the business process, once you become the subject matter expert, then you will have a capabilities to handle the project. So then you'll become a project manager. So this is how the SAP career works. Uh, and this is all about the demo one. And I leave it to you guys. If you have any questions, please put it across.
Yes, sir. Bharadwaj here.
Yeah, hi Bharatwaj.
Hi, sir. Sir, what's the major difference for the SAP and SAP for HANA? Right now, we are going to learn the SAP. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you get already updated version about the SAP for HANA, if you are going to looking for the SAP right now and we are going to start a career in SAP, is there
Mm-hmm.
any mismatch will be available for SAP and SAP for HANA? Is it better choice for you going to SAP right now?
Yeah, the point you have to understand is what is required in the market. What is market looking out for? See, we are talking about S4 HANA since 2015. Okay,
Okay,
we are talking about S4 HANA since 2015, but there is a gap in the market understanding and the market requirement. Okay, now what is a market understanding as a and market requirement? Market requirement is what is SAP saying first? SAP is saying we are going to stop R3 and ECC support in the next couple of years. Okay, meaning SAP want all its clients to move to S4 HANA. Okay,
okay,
all its clients from R3 to S4 HANA. Now the point is the acceptance of S4 HANA is not high.
hmm,
Acceptance of S4 HANA is not high. And it is not easy for a well established company to move from already being used ERP to S4 HANA. Okay. Now, when your product is running good, why would you like to upgrade?
okay,
A simple question. Why would you like to upgrade? So this is a challenge what SAP is facing from their clients. Okay. So now what am I trying to tell you here is right from 2020. Okay. Before to that, SAP started saying we'll end the life of these products and all the clients should switch to S4 HANA. So then what happened from 2020, it has extended to 23. It has extended to 25. It has extended now to 27. Now they have recently extended to 2030.
okay,
See, the point what am I trying to tell you here is unless there is an acceptance from the clients to shift completely into S4 HANA, the resource requirement or a consultant requirement on S4 HANA will not be available much in the market. So currently, if the client is using SD, there is a pointless. Okay, it is good to have information. It is good to have the learning on S4 HANA, but ultimately you end up landing into SAP SD because client is not using S4 HANA. Rather,
okay,
he would expect you to support and have greater expertise on a SAP SD.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So now let me also tell you one another important thing. Uh, S4 HANA is not entirely different from SAP SD. Whatever features, whatever the enterprise structure, what we create in SD, SAP, ERP, R3 or ECC, same thing is created in S4. Whatever the pricing we have, same thing we do it here. Whatever the conditions, contracts, orders we create here, same thing is there. So in other words, what am I trying to say is 80% of the information matches with what we have in the SAP R3 ECC and your S4 HANA. There is a 20% of the difference. The 20% of the difference, we call it as a delta. Okay, like say, there we call it as a customer and here we call it as a business partner. So in order to enable the customer, what is required is something what we see in SAP SD. In order to enable the business partner instead of the customer, what we need to enable or a configure, we see it in this 20%. All right. So this 20% is what we need to have a knowledge of. Even if we are uh, landed into S4 HANA project, we by knowing that 20%, we are fit enough to handle the situation. Without S4 HANA knowledge also, you can directly start working on S4 HANA projects because 80% of the information is same. But only problem what you'll face is the Fiori is something what will initially for a 1 or 2 months you will face that difficulty. So that is something covered in the Delta. So in our session, we are not going to talk about the complete S4 HANA, or in our course rather. We would learn what is SAP SD because that is required in the market. Right away, if the moment you complete your course, if at all you get an opportunity, you will be placed on a SAP SD project. So are you good enough to handle the SAP SD project is something what I look at. And over a period of time, once you gain that expertise on what is SAP SD, how do you interact with the client, how do you understand the requirements of the client, then configure them into SAP. Once you gain that knowledge, then I would say you accelerate yourself. You gauge yourself to the next level or gain the more knowledge. By the time you spend 1 or 2 years, there will be again a new product in the S4 HANA which will come up, and it will come up with the new features. So it is a continuous learning when I am saying about S4 HANA. Once it is completely settled and once it is deployed across all the clients, you cannot expect the consultants to work on S4 HANA. In our organization itself, we have the resources just around I would say 12% who are on S4 HANA. Remaining 80 to 85%, they are on the SAP SD. Because we need to keep continuing supporting the SAP SD. Doesn't mean the new product is there, very good. Having the knowledge of the new product is good. Knowing it, it is good. It is important to know it. But ultimately, land, we should learn something where we land and we work. So that's how the course has been designed as SAP SD with S4 HANA. So here we would be covering the Delta part of S4 HANA. We're not going to uh, completely get into the S4 HANA C because it's all the same in SD and S4 HANA. On a day when they say that the SD is done or SAP ERP R3 ECC is closed and only S4 HANA is available, then you will definitely see there will be only S4 HANA classes. There won't be any SD. And I wouldn't say in a near future you can see that. It will at least take another 7 to 8 years for this transformation to happen. It is not easy for 3,020 lakh plus customers to shift from their existing ERP to the new ERP. So these are the challenges what we have. That is the reason we have designed the course in such a way that the moment you complete the course, you practice, in the next 3 months you should be ready to get into a organization and you should have the capability to support the client once you're onboarded. That's the idea.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone has any other questions, please? I mean, this is an opportunity. This is where you have to ask me whatever you have in your mind. That could be silly, I don't mind. You can please put forth your questions. Get the complete clarity of what you're planning to have in the next 3 months. Okay. So please make yourself comfortable, understand the topics well. If you're serious to get the SAP career, because as far as the market is concerned, we see there is a good improvement in the market right from 2020. Post COVID, the opportunities have opened up a lot. Only thing what is lagging is like students are not capable of having the efficient knowledge to crack through the interviews and get through the jobs. So I don't want that gap to be built. So if you're learning, learn it with fullest, and get the complete knowledge of what you're learning, and get set with your career path. This is the right opportunity. Yeah, I think that's it from my end. If there are no questions, then let's close the call here, and let's connect back in the next session.
Yes, sir. One more question, sir.
Yes, please.
Uh, In the training sessions, only configuration of this ECC will be explained, or simultaneously how the configuration will be in S4HANA.
I wouldn't mind showing both, but it will become long duration. It is going to take around 4 to 5 months for me if I start comparing things and then showing here and there, here and there. That is the reason. What I'm trying to tell is, like, I would be explaining you SAP SD, and then I would be explaining what is the delta part in the S4. So only that we would be covering. We would have hardly around 6 to 7 sessions on SAP S4 HANA, where you would be seeing how the sale orders will be performed, and how your Fiori app works, how the reports works, okay, how the essential elements we will be seeing. What are the changes? Basically, if someone asks you in your interview, like, what kind of knowledge you have on S4 HANA, you should not say, I don't know. You should at least have some answer with you. Yes, in S4 HANA, BPs are there where you prepare it in this way. We have something called conditional contracts, which are replacement of the rebate. So you talk these concepts in the S4 HANA. So keeping the market requirements in the mind, we are going to give you the training.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Thank you so much for your time today. So it was great interacting with you guys. I'm closing the session here. Please check with the management when would be the next session, and accordingly plan yourself and connect to the meeting. Thanks. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.